Welcome, everyone, and welcome to my garage. I am Flo, your host and creator of Notis.ai. And if you stumble on this video and don't know what Notis is, don't worry. Let me quickly explain. It's an AI assistant that runs directly on WhatsApp and use your voice to capture, organize, but also retrieve anything in your Notion workspace. Simply put, if you're someone that doesn't sit at their desk all day, it's the only way to be productive on Notion. But wait, what is Notion? So if you're someone that don't know what Notion is, or if you've tried Notion and found it overwhelming, please believe me, you're not alone. I remember the first time I opened Notion and ended up with basically a blank page. I felt very overwhelmed, and it took me a few times actually to go back and to Notion and really adopt it. And what I'm going to talk about is something that I've created for people that felt overwhelmed or for people that want to get started with Notion to really put everything in their hand that they need to get started and really start with a productivity system that works outside of the box. So today we're going to cover something that I call the Notis second brain system, which is the template that comes out of the box with Notis and lets you start not only with Notis, but also with Notion in a very gentle way, with everything you need to become a productivity geek. All right, let's get started. All right, so if you've followed the last tutorial where we went ahead and installed Notice, there was one option that we made sure to activate. That was to install the template provided by the developer. And so what this will do is install the Notice AI second brain system at the top of your workspace. If you haven't watched that video, go ahead, pause the video right now, check the description below. I'll put a link to that video and start from there. It's really important to do this from the step. So once you've installed Notice, you will find this at the top of your workspace. And so, there are a lot of things going on here. Just know that at the end, you get a nice tutorial on how to install Notice, and you get the link to the first video actually. But we're going to cover each one of them one at a time, and I'll explain how I use them and why I find them useful. So areas is going to be a Notion database. And I'm going to explain a bit later what a Notion database is, because I think as you go through each of those databases, you get a sense of what it is without me giving you a lesson about it. So areas are part of my life that I organize my time around. So I'm going to make another video about time boxing and how I use the system to do time boxing and how I link that to my task. But for now, just know that you are likely to have different areas in your life that you share your time during the week and the weekend between. So personal might be one. You might have your main job, maybe some side projects, some passions, things that are big chunk of your week basically. We'll skip projects for now because I think the projects are easier to understand once you get a better grasp of task reminders and how they link to areas. So tasks are going to be a little chunk that you do in the day. And for most people, tasks are pretty intuitive. The error that you might end up doing is creating tasks that represent too much work to be done in a few hours, basically. A basic rule that I have is if a task cannot be done in one day, then it's not a task for sure. And that's why you get that view, that calendar view. And we'll see just in a second how you can use it. But if you scroll down for your task, you're going to get this view, this inbox view, where you can create a task and attribute it to an area. Let's see how that works. So let's say I have to launch Notice on Product Hunt. Well, No, this is not a task. This is likely to take more than a day to complete. So we'll see in a minute what we do with that. But something that would be much more of a task would be post the video about the Notis system, second brain system. All right. Right now, I've created it in no area, and I can select a priority. I can select an area. Right now, I don't have any one, but I could create an area called Notice and linked it to Notice. For now, I'll just put personal and put it a status basically. All right. So yeah, this is the way it works. And now when I want to schedule that to be done on a certain date, I can just drag and drop and say, okay, I want to do this on this day. And what it's going to do, maybe something wrong with my filter. Yep. By the way, those are filters that you have access here, that little button here, super handy. I've configured a bunch of views. Those are views. A bunch of them are configured for you, but if you want to change them and if you want to adapt them to your own workflow, you just go into filters, and then here you can see that there are two filters. It will only show you tasks that are status, not done, and that have no date. And this is because this is an inbox. This is where you create your task. And once you've created your task, you set them at a date that you want to complete them. Okay. And then because I've said like once they shouldn't have any date, once I've set up a date, which is what I just did here, you cannot see that task anymore here. If I wanted to change this behavior, if you didn't like this behavior, just change the filter and boom, now you see all the tasks, even the one that don't have any date. All right. So we've seen views, we've seen how you can use filters, we've seen how you can quickly create items here. There's a lot of ways to create new items. You can create the new button, you can add directly in a category, you can create them directly from the calendar. Please don't be overwhelmed by this. There is a lot of ways to do the same thing depending on what you're trying to do. Same thing for editing. You could change things directly from here, or you could click here and open it and configure it from that little panel and close it. You can put that in full screen as well. That's another way to view those things. At first, you'll be like, what is the right way to do it? There's no right way to do it. There's more and less convenient way to do it depending on what you're doing. Let's go back to projects. Projects are basically tasks that are assembled together because they will require more than a day to complete. And this way, you'll be able to track the progress linked to a project. Otherwise, you create that big task like launch on Product Hunt, and every day you work on them and you don't see any progress being done. So it's really not motivating. It's very stressful. And so instead, what you do is maybe, and I'll record separate videos on what's my productivity workflow or how I organize my work. But for now, let's just say that at the beginning of the month, to start simple, just, what spend some time to think about what are your projects, create those projects, create the tasks inside those projects. And let me quickly show you how to do that. So let's create a new project, launch on Product Hunt. Okay. And then I'll just create a new area called Notice. Okay. And open this project and link it to Notice. All right. And then go and create a new task, such as brainstorm. What is the hook for Product Hunt? That's my first task for this project. And so I'm going to set that task for Notice, and the project will be launched on Product Hunt. And now as I move through that project, I'm going to be able to keep track in the project. And you'll find some views here to help you do that. There is a timeline view where you can keep track of your projects, and more are going to come as I work on that template. Okay, one last thing is notes and documents. So while tasks are things that you do, notes are things that you write, okay? And things that you write yourself. And they're called notes and documents because if you think about it, they're pretty similar. If you write a quick notes for you, it's just like a document that you don't spend much time doing it. But if you write a full presentation and a full document and spend a lot of time, it's the same thing, just you spent more time doing it. So I've put them all together, and really the criteria here is everything that you write yourself. Bookmarks are things that other wrote. So it can be website content that you captured to remember a new tool that you discovered, might be a quote from a book, might be anything that someone else wrote. And we'll see that you can use something like the Notion web clipper to capture those very easily. Of course, you can use Notice as well. But yeah, that's the main difference between here, everything that you write yourself, and here, everything that other wrote and you want to capture. And finally, here you'll find more templates that will talk to you more or less depending of what kind of profession you have. So there are things for your daily life like grocery list. It's super convenient to just tell Notice, remind me to buy some milk and then some apples. And then you're at the grocery store and you just ask Notice, what are the things that are in my grocery list that are in the vegetable alley? And Notice will find it and it will tell you what you need to buy. Super convenient. Expenses, not going to spend a lot of time talking about it because there will be a separate video on this, but just to tease you about this, you can just snap a picture with WhatsApp and send it to Notice, and Notice will recognize that it's an expense, will recognize what is written on your expense, will find the right budgets and all the information that are written on the receipt and do everything for you. So, if you open that, you have the latest expense that you have and the budget. Just once you've installed that template, just try it. Send a receipt to Notice, and it will automatically do everything for you, which I think is pretty amazing. Ghostwriter is to write your future biography or to train your future AI that will replace you. Content planner is really useful, is you can pitch to Notice all the ideas that you have for blog post and Twitter post and so on, and it will get it directly for you. We will write it, and we'll also see in a later video how you can customize those things directly in Notion, how you can tell Notice that whenever you pitch a YouTube video, you want it to be structured this way, or whenever you pitch a LinkedIn post, you want it to be written with your brain voice. So that's something we'll cover. Lots of exciting stuff coming. And finally, product management and dev. So if you're a product manager or you're a developer, then you want to pitch new features or use Notice to track your bugs. Everything there is already compatible and optimized for Notice. And I will be adding more and more of those pre-made database and templates that are optimized for Notice. All right. If you think about any more of those templates you'd like me to create, or if you want me to cover some of those in priorities, just drop me a comment below and I'll make sure to record one of those videos as soon as possible. As always, please like and subscribe. I've just started working on this channel, so it's a huge motivation boost when you guys interact with me. It makes me feel less alone. If you ever try to start something on social media or on YouTube, it's very hard at the beginning when you don't have a lot of followers to get you motivated because, well, concretely, you're just talking to no one. But you have to start somewhere. Thank you for tuning in. in my garage. I'm Florian, the creator of Notis. I'm talking to you from Ibiza, and I see you next week. Thank you guys. Cheers.